Okay. God, it's funny. I thought a lot of these supplies would never come in handy again because I hardly ever smoke anymore as an adult. But like, now it's like, God, the grinder my buddy gave me years ago, all this stuff is like coming back around.
Mm-hmm. Just like a record player.
Yeah.
That has multiple meanings in this case.
Yeah.
Well, it helps that we talked about it, and we had talked about it before, but I wasn't getting the point, and this time I got the point.
Hooray!
And I must be a little stoned.
Yeah.
Little teeny bitty stoned, or I wouldn't be talking like this.
Hard to tell. I gotta be honest, when I'm high, I look at you, I'm like, are you high?
Also, I'm gonna show you guys some fancy weed technology.
Woo!
Alright, let me put a brighter light on so
Oh
this
my
is easier to
goodness.
see. Okay, so this is a very modern grinder. This actually has a magnet here and there so that it connects. You put a chunk on there, you just go like this, and then you twist it a few times, and then it all falls down into here, evenly broken up so that you can roll it easier without having sticks poke through the paper. And then that area down below with the screen, that's actually what we would call a keef box. And the keef box is an area where after grinding up a whole bunch of weed over a long period of time, you end up with just the powderized crystals.
Oh.
So all of that little residue in there, if you have really crappy weed, or if you have a cigarette that you want to spice up, a little tiny, like what people would use like a Coke spoon amount, like one of those little tiny dipper things. You put just a tiny bit of that on top of a bowl or in a cigarette, and everyone would be high as a kite. It's very similar to like solid hash, because hash is only that stuff.
Oh, that's what hash is.
Yeah, hash is, they'll take the dried plants and they'll shake the shit out of them until all that pollen falls out, or they'll put it through a grind process like this where everything falls down over time. And then they take all of that crystal residue that's a powder, and then instead of just sprinkling some on something else, they'll take it and smush it with like a vise until it's a solid chunk of crystally resiny stuff. But in the event of just trying to get a good joint, this whole thing should be pretty easy. There we go.
What am I saying here?
So,
Are you done with your rice, or
Oh yeah, I'm done with my rice.
can you dip it, scoop it under there?
Sure.
Oh.
Yeah, you had this big wad of rice. Very nice that you like Indian rice, though. It's a shame China made their rice bland over here. I hear it's actually really good. And the fish that you get with your rice on sushi rolls, that's just a topping, like putting cilantro on a
okay,
steak.
China and Japan are very different that way.
Shit. Okay.
Japan, the main part of sushi is actually to display the quality of the rice. Really high budge rice actually has like a real specific texture and a very clean and very slightly sweet taste to it. And then they put that tiny bit of the rice vinegar throughout to keep
But you
it.
eat or smoke?
Rice?
Yeah.
Eat.
Okay.
I mean, you're not gonna smoke rice. It's
Well, grind it up and turn it into a rice powder and put it in a joint. Yeah.
Well, no, it's funny that you say that though, because I also have rice paper wraps that look clear like saran wrap. So,
Okay.
but a lot of people get wigged out by those because it looks like plastic, and then they're like, "I'm not gonna smoke plastic," and I'm like, "It's not plastic. It's safe for the body. It's something different."
Yeah.
But they still get really nervous, and they're like, "Oh, that sounds like."
What
something I
have
don't
you
wanna-
moved on to? Something else, Nick? To eat?
Oh, yeah, that's some ramen noodles.
Okay.
It was the last one though. They're not that good. I gotta be honest.
Well, yeah, those are the little less than $1 ones. If you want a good one,
A
good
good
one-
batch of sodium.
well, the good ones are like maybe $1 or $2 a pack for just one, and they're a little closer to what the restaurant actually tastes like, and the quality of the noodles is better because they're not freeze dried.
It's a
They're
better
actually-
simulation.
Yeah, they're just air dried natural noodles instead of the freeze dried ones that takes the texture out of them and makes them really like mediocre.
You can have the real thing rice noodle. Rice noodles. Or you could have the simulated version that's worse for you, or the crappy simulated, which is just yeah.
Well, no, the freeze dried ones are real noodles when they start, but the freeze drying changes the texture and makes them shitty.
Yeah, just like vegetables.
Doesn't it kill the nutrients too?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, a lot of that.
That's the
but-
problem.
Most
exactly
most
the-
ricey stuff in general,
Racy?
ricey stuff,
Oh.
ricey
That's less
stuff
ricey.
like noodles or grains and whatnot that go into noodles doesn't have a whole lot of good ingredients to it. You know, it's like generally kind of natural carbs. That's probably
Yeah.
about enough.
Yeah, you're right. I can see that.
So throw this on here.
Oh, you did all that careful running up.
Well, yeah, because I wanted to get an approximate amount.
Oh!
Brett is one careful dude, I tell you. I mean, it used to drive me crazy until I started to understand him and what he was doing, and I accept it a lot more now. That that's the way he is. He's going to be particular. He's isn't going to speed it up. He isn't going to make it less than perfect, and it's going to be perfect. So once I came to that grips with that, I just I let him do his thing. Whatever it is, whether it's the computer or fixing of something broken around the house, once he takes it on, man, he doesn't stop till it's done and done right.
It's just that whole getting started bit.
Yeah, sometimes that is one of my big crutches in life is the fact that I have to fight my perfectionist nature. In my nature, you know, rather do it right than do anything half-assed, because I had been exposed to so many people fucking things up so many times, and I have perpetual examples outside of here where I'm just like, if you do it this way, it's a one-time thing and it's not that expensive and it'll last for years. And then people still insist on doing something half-assed or shortcutting or doing something that's like $2 cheaper to make it fall apart. And I'm like,
What is this,
oh my,
Russia?
come on, man. This could be like
It's
a
like the
good
guy who
deal.
put up the mezzanine in the garage, that extra shelf in the garage that I had made. I had one guy,
Oh, in our garage.
the first guy made it, and it lasted a month or two, and then it fell down.
The one that's above the car?
Yeah, it missed the car and hit hit a bicycle.
Oh, and it broke some of our ornaments. That's
Yeah,
why that
yeah,
happened.
it broke the Christmas ornaments.
What a shitbag.
So I don't know who I went to next, but he did it right, and it's held for 10 years now.
This house was built in 1969. Our neighbor over there was 1968. Same guy.
Which neighbor are you pointing at?
Directly next door?
The one with the lady that's always like really nice and makes you feel
The
like
New York one?
Yeah.
Marie?
Oh, okay.
Uh,
God, and that's what a contrast. The guy who used to live there was the biggest sourpuss in the neighborhood.
well, he was like struggling with the fact like he left his job in a different state for this, and it didn't work out, and he had to leave because he couldn't afford to anymore.
Wow, very understanding.
Well, I understand. understand people and their troubles. It's just the things that piss me off about them I can't stand for. Just like, I'm gonna improve. I'm improving. I listen to what you say. Stop being terrible at this, because it's making me angry. I want it to stop already. Otherwise, it goes on forever. Then you have Mom.
Okay.
No, Mom. I'm talking about Mom.
Your mother is a trip.
And everyone.
Wow.
Well said. Haha, double swing. Okay.
But we've never been better friends.
That is true. Yeah, at least, yeah.
I mean, the give and take now. We always were friends, except when she grew frustrated with me not having a job and was being schmoozed by Greg.
No, she already divorced Craig.
Yeah.
It's Greg.
Oh, say that one more time.
Her first husband was Craig.
Oh.
The guy she had an affair with was Greg.
I haven't been able to remember that, but I know I've been told that before. Well, I'll try to remember it. Greg was wooing her. Except for that little couple years there, we've always communicated really well. And the more Mark has gotten into it and accepted it, she's accepted it as well. It's not like I gotta help Jim or we gotta have my the kid's father over. It's more like, so you're gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. Yes, okay. I love you. Goodbye. I love you. Goodbye. And it's like
Now?
I tell that. Yeah.
You told that?
I'm telling you and nobody else.
Ah. I don't think it needed to be said. I think we're all aware of it. I just didn't realize how glad you were for it.
That she said that. Actually said those words to me.
Oh. If you want to get weird with this couple, just like how unusual it is. Mark, like I said, Happy New Year to Mark. He texted me today. Where my phone is. It says, and to you, my son. I'm like,
Oh.
oof.
Yeah. Yeah. That as much as I don't want to believe that 100%, I have to believe it a little bit because of the way he does treat you and the way his own kids treat him. It has to be a certain. I don't think it can't be 100%, but it's got to be a good percent.
Yeah, he probably likes Nick a lot better than his own offspring in a lot of ways. I mean, I can vaguely remember that one of the kind of chocolatey kids, Leah, I think it was.
Fucking hell.
And I was like, wow. I remember hearing some stories about her not really being too zesty of a person to him, and I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
that's the lightest way I can put it.
It was either her or his other daughter, Emily, who was doing a whole bunch of drugs at this one guy's house.
Leah. Oh, damn.
What in the
That
blazes?
was a chunk of an old broken pen. I'm trying to.
Oh my god, I just got in the weed.
Oh, well, at least it didn't knock it over.
Yeah. What was I saying? Anyway, she was doing crack or smack at cocaine at this one guy's pad apparently a few times because Mark happened upon the place and went in there to get her out of there. But when he went in there were about 5 guys having sex with her, and he grabbed some piece of furniture in the room, I want to say a lamp or something, and started bashing the guys in the head. And bashing them around and throwing them off her, and then dragged her out of there.
She was the only girl getting fucked by 5 guys?
That's what he said.
Holy Christ.
Wow.
And I don't know if there was a lesbian on her.
I would imagine there has to be at least
one lesbian in the orgy.
There's got to be at least one other woman involved. Because where the
Oh.
hell are 5 guys gonna put it? I mean,
Yeah.
3 guys maybe, but like 5?
I bet like 2 of the guys were just like lounging in the room after doing it or
Like that?
getting ready
Yeah.
for it. But anyway, either way, yeah, the guy has told me a lot of fucking horrible things that his family has done. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's no wonder you suddenly like go on these crazy rants like your brain is overcooked because
Yeah. Ooh.
he is just utterly fried after bullshit.
Yeah, I can kind of imagine like if you went to that, like you'd have to be a little bit wonky after.
I just feel so terrible. My kids turned out that way.
Oh my god.
My flesh and blood kids turned out that way. I don't. I'd probably disown them and kill myself and just be done with it.
Oh Jesus! The first time, like I said, like "Happy birthday, Mark," like after the second year of knowing him, Mom said, "Oh, just wish him a happy birthday." I'm like, "Yeah, all right. That seems very. He's been a nice guy, and I wish him a happy birthday." And he texts me back. None of my other kids wish me happy birthday today. I really appreciate that. That's so sad.
I remember that. I got that too. Yeah.
Like, what could he have possibly been doing wrong all his life?
Even his grown kids.
Oh my god, they use him like.
Yeah, if my parents were still alive, I'd be going to see them 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Certain it's Easter and Thanksgiving and maybe one more time for sure. I'd be going to see them and I'd be calling them once a week
Oh.
just to say hi. How's the weather? And we'd find something to talk about. So this, the fact that even his flesh and blood grown kids, man, something must have gone wrong.
I think it has to do with like what your brother is witnessing, and maybe a lot of people.
Oh.
Cause like, I don't know any of my friends even talk to their parents anymore. Like, I can bring you guys up in a conversation, but they look at me like, "Oh, you talk to your dad about that stuff?" And it's like, yeah, you don't talk to your parents about a menagerie of like any subject matter. It's like, no, they just like told me to do stuff or like give me money. And that's because, yeah, they don't have conversations. If it's not about like giving you a lecture, telling you what to do,
Yeah.
that's an authority figure,
Mhm.
not someone you talk about like, "Oh, I was doing this over at the mall." It's someone, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very robotic relationship. It's very deadpan, like get from point A, raise the child to point B, and then they function in their own world in their own life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what my parents were expecting when I was still in high school.
Hmm.
Because I talked about, oh man, I can't wait to move out and get in an apartment. And my dad said something like, we'll help you with that. We'll help you get started on your new life. And I'm just now putting that together with, he was probably have done that if I had done what these other kids are doing. He would have let me go, and it would have broken his heart,
Yeah.
and he would have. But since I didn't do that, it's just, I think he and my mom both understood the difference. Because they've got friends too, who also don't communicate with their kids.
And it's understandable, like, you and Mom were kind of doing that for a while. Because, like, I mean, you want your kids to respect what you say and not have them go, "Fuck you, I don't have to listen to shit you say." But if you're the type of person where it's like, "Oh, that person's intimidating, I gotta do as they say," and you just learn this is how you behave all the time, so that you're not a little asshole. But yeah, it's a hard thing to juggle, isn't it?
I guess, yeah. I was thinking earlier today, I was sad for a while thinking about that you had said. had done things I didn't know that and impressed you in ways I had no idea. I thought it would all the psychiatric care you were going to need was going to be for Donna. But now I see how I played a role in it too.
Well, that's okay, man. Well, no one realizes they're doing bad things, so they think like, oh, it's no big deal. And from my perspective of what I'm saying, everyone thinks that about themselves. You don't realize it. Brett doesn't realize it. I definitely didn't realize it in like the worst of ways, where I just like tune people out because I'm like, no, it's not. This person's full of shit. How dare they tell me I'm doing something wrong? And then one day, Brett told me enough. No, there is something wrong. You need to listen to me. And then I did, and I was like, oh shit. I fucked up a lot of my life. And I realized, like, I was a fucking terrible kid to a lot of people. Ugh.
So was I.
Oh.
Yeah.
And, like, even a few years ago.
I had one of those myself, man. I was in elementary school, and I went from being probably the most bullied kid in the school to being the most feared and getting expelled when I was in elementary, because I went from being the punching bag to slaughtering all the guys twice my size. And then I didn't even know, but by the time I got tossed out of that elementary school, it was because the kids who were bullying me were complaining that they got bullied because I fucking whomped them and knocked them flat on their ass.
Yeah.
And they couldn't take it. They were dishing out for months, and then when it all came back in a single day, and they were like, you know, bloody nose and crying on the ground, and not unconscious because, you know, I wasn't that mean, but I definitely knocked them flat until they weren't fighting back.
Oh.
So
I meant more like,
so then all of a sudden it was like, I'm the fucking monster and they need to get me out of the school. And I'm like, what about all the fucking times these guys were kicking me in the fucking chest, throwing me into metal benches and shit? And I'm like, you know, holy shit. But then I look back on it and I'm like, you know, they went from dealing with somebody that they could easily push around to all of a sudden getting a little Bruce Lee in their face, and then that they were just like completely unprepared. And then when I ran into one of them at either Best Buy or Fry's, this kid Jonathan something, who used to be the hugest pain in my ass all the time in elementary school, then he was coming up to me and I talked to him briefly. He's like, oh yeah, I remember you were the bully from my elementary school. And I'm like, I was the bully after you fucking tortured me for all those weeks and weeks, and then I finally lost it once. I'm like, and I was the bully? What the fuck?
Oh, weird.
You know, yeah.
All these years, that's how he
Yeah.
thinks of you subconsciously.
Yeah. Because I was the only one that kicked his ass.
I don't mean like assholes mistaking themselves as victims. I mean like I was definitely the asshole, and I was having victims be created. Like, you know that there's like 3 kinds of bullies that you can showcase in like a show. One is the one that had shitty parents, and he's like putting what do you call replacing that pain and putting it onto something else?
Transference.
Thank you. And doing that transference, and he's like, I punch you because my dad punches me. And then there's the one that hurts people because he is psychotic and loves doing it. And then there's the one that's doing it and is totally unaware, that one's me, totally unaware that he's doing something bad, and it's like, oh, I was? Oh, I shouldn't call you this? Why? It's funny. And then you're told, well, yeah, that hurts people's feelings. Well, they shouldn't be so uppity. And then you realize, oh, wait a minute. I see how that was offensive, if not outright racist. I don't know what I said anymore, but you get what I mean.
I get what you mean, exactly.
Yeah. But most people, unlike us right now, don't talk about that sort of subject, and they just brush off as like, I don't have to spend that much time with this person.
The kid's a pain in the ass. I mean, comedians make jokes about
yeah.
their kids, their parents, It's like the normal world is just completely
That
different.
should be
from
going
us.
right now.
Jesus, whatever happened to Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, there you
Is Eddie Murphy okay? Last time I saw him, he wasn't funny and scared me. And it scared
go. One.
me. Woo!
The paper is kind of burning down farther than the stuff. One easy fix for that is a tiny drop of condensation. That way we're not getting it spitting.
That's a lot of something. Oh, right, you have this. Yeah. Whoa.
You're probably going to be pretty rich, Jim.
Oh my god, he just like sucked that down.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
That you're going to be pretty ripped.
It's been a while.
The second one got hot in my throat.
Yeah. Well,
Woo!
that's why we use this, because it takes a lot of the bad stuff out and it cools it down.
That's with the ice and the squirt. Oh god. It does. Wow, that really.
If you're going to,
Well, why the fuck not?
it's either that or I can toss it in here and then you can literally pull it through there and it'll be the same. But this is guaranteed gonna get you guys stoned as fuck.
Whoa, this stuff is hot as hell. Oh my
Yeah.
god, I got so much smoke coming out of my mouth just from that little bit, and you smoked like
Yeah.
that.
Well, the other thing to remember is there's like a couple of the chunks that you would have normally put in there to make a stick like that. So, you know.
If you're gonna take another, I'll take another.
Well, and there you go, buddy. Wow, that is smoky. But boy, howdy, do I feel it in my mouth.
I feel like it's only kind of partially burning there. I think it might have gotten pinched closed a little.
My bad.
No worries. That's one of the other things where he said, "Oh, get some tweezers or get a paper clip or something." Is to keep from getting burned. You can
Yeah. This
throw
was
something in like that.
this was also a necessary part of the equipment in my age. To always, well, a lot of people were forgetful, but you always tried to remember to bring some pinchers so you could finish it off.
A J.
Yeah.
How many J's did you smoke a night?
Well, I don't imagine that they smoked a whole lot of these in a single night. I mean, you usually smoke like
That's what I'm asking.
one J, and you're probably,
I
you know, the
think,
group's
yeah.
probably pretty stoned.
We just used to. There was three of us. I'm just thinking one time in particular because we only did it once. Three of us just shared one joint. I don't recall doing a second joint because the second time I inhaled, I started to float.
Oh, hey. And then your old sergeant busts through the door and says, "You were right about everything."
Well, yeah, I certainly didn't want him around. For that. Although he must have seen stuff like that over there.
I'm just like
Okay,
wondering
that's fine.
if, like, when
No,
he
I just grabbed-
came to tell you that,
There you go.
I'm wondering if, like, he was just like, "So now that I know my ideals and way of thinking are totally dead, mind if I have one of those joints of yours?" Or like, what's one of those?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't want to burn a hole in your shirt.
Jazz cigarettes.
Just too hot.
Yeah. Well, you're probably going to be pretty ripped because again, this is a lot stronger than the back in the day stuff. So
Oh yeah, I don't. Were you? I don't know if you were there for that Adams Ruins drugs episode, but apparently, remember when Nancy Reagan took on drugs?
Yeah.
And then everyone got super crazy looking for drugs?
Righteous, yeah.
Righteous?
They think they're in the right, and they're saving society and their
Oh.
and the souls of those kids.
You know? And those kids then, like, learned hydroponics and put it in their closets, and it made, like, figured out a whole lot of ways to make the weed actually grow better accidentally.
Yeah, because by doing hydroponics, you can make sure there's a constant flow of the artificial light and the really good plant nutrients 24/7.
Oh.
So you end up with a healthier, stronger, more productive plant.
Huh.
So it ends up naturally producing more of the active stuff that you would want out of your pot.
And yet you shouldn't constantly water your plants day in and day out.
Well,
Otherwise you'll
you
die.
have to,
Yes.
in a good hydroponics setup, there's really adequate drainage, and then somebody comes in X number of hours, like every 4 hours or so, pours some water in, and it drains really thoroughly. So then the soil has just enough time to actually get parched again before you do your next water, and then you never have a cycle of root rot.
So there you go.
But if you want to hit it this way, since you're a little more adept at that,
I'll save it for giving Dad another shot at it.
okay.
Or maybe later.
I couldn't jump into it. Na 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 na.
And one of the great differences between pot and tobacco is tobacco will stick to your walls and make your whole house smell like tobacco permanently, whereas pot doesn't actually leave that resin all over the walls, and you don't have to repaint the room to get rid of the smell.
Yes, only for when you want to cover the gunshots.
What?
You know, like how once you shoot a gun, you get residue on yourself. I would imagine it also gets on the walls of the room.
Yeah, but I would think something. Whoa. You
Yo,
alright?
what happened?
You sitting down? Did it hit you really hard? Jim?
What?
Did it hit you really hard?
I completely forgot why I'm here. I'm so stoned.
We're putting the...
I was doing all the thinking over here about someone else. What did I have in the kitchen to do?
I think to...
Oh, I know.
here.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, you kind of hit a lot of that, Jim, so, you know.
Strawberries.
No. Corn.
Oh.
Yeah, you like corn. Oh, more cucumber.
Corn's not. Corn's not a marijuana.
Tear out some of that funk. Keep it.
Alright. Hey, buddy. Why don't I watch that tickle for you?
What?
Watch that tickle for you.
Wash the table?
Brett?
Huh? Cucumber?
Oh, hand here, I think.
Wash the cucumber?
Brett, help me.
Okay. Oh.
I came to get a.
To wash off the cucumber?
I'll watch it for you.
Here. We'll watch that. You can chill out. How about maybe the lazy boy recliner? Would that be a good idea? Yeah, I think maybe 3 or 4 hits was a little too much. Alright.
Brett, my arms are tired.
Okay, I'm just setting this up for him. the amount that was just in the room. That's what I was trying to get ventilation. Oop. Yeah, I'll grab some pillows off the couch. There we go. Maybe we wanna try to. Well, it's gonna take away his ability to see.
I don't know how he's gonna roll.
So here, maybe we should get rid of this cucumber for now, and then maybe we'll each take him by an arm and get him to relate to where we're playing. Yeah, here, I'm gonna move these back, and I'm gonna try to move some stuff off the floor. Okay. And then if we can get him, you think the first lazy boy is a better bet?
Yes.
Backpack and away come in the middle. That. I think I'll move these a little so that they don't get knocked over. Alright. These. Alright, hey Jim. We're gonna try to get you up and see if we can move the armpit. Can we do this?
I don't think so.
You know what? Maybe bringing bedding in here is alright. Okay. So, okay, just verbally tell me, because you guys smoked the equivalent of like 3 or 4 bowls.
Oh god.
He's probably smoked at least an entire bowl by himself.
I hope he's doing okay.
He's gonna probably get some of the best sleep he's had in a long time.
I just don't.
One thing that we can do is, no, I don't want to do this immediately. I want to get some blankets and stuff, so this is an easier thing to try to do. What we can do is roll him out. Quit literally. We'll slide him away from the wall a little, and then I staff the pillows around so he can't bonk on anything, and have blankets or something so that he can be a little more comfortable. So how about before we try to put any of that stuff over there, where's a good throw blanket or something? Just like anything that doesn't matter if it hits the floor. Hey Jim, can you help us get you over to the Lazy Boy recliner? Hey Jim, can you help us out? If we grab you by the arms, can you help us walk you? We want to walk you over to a nice comfy chair. Alright. So we're going to grab your armpit and then...
No.
You want to sit here instead?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want some pillows to lean on?
Yes.
Here, we're going to put some pillows under you.
I'm fine.
Here, Jim.
Oh, he's trying to get up. He's trying to get up.
Here. I think it was just a little bit too much.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And then, alright, and I'm gonna put,
Blanket.
I'm gonna put a blanket around back of you a little bit. And if you tell us you're cold, we will pull it over you so you can be nice and toasty. But for now, I'm just gonna have it on standby, kind of behind you a little bit.
Oh. I know what to get. Just play some music.